"What brings you here?" Scar asked. I was very worried, not just because Scar has a lightsaber and travels interdimensionally, but also I've always been bad about talking with girls. And I said I had to get contact with you some way. I lost my phone. And she gave me a flat look. I'd get very used to that over the next little bit. But she said, "You've been trying to travel on your own?" I said, "Yeah." I still don't understand it. And she said, "Well, why didn't you come to me?" You didn't actually lose your phone, did you? I said, "No, it's in my drawers, like in my dresser." And Scar said, "I see. I'm guessing that you talked with Darren." I said, "How is it that you all know each other? Can I just be on the same page as you all?" And she said, "Reggie, Darren is the person that we're trying to fight against. He is one of the people that's hurt my friend. That's why I had to go about it so secretively to get you to know about all this." I said, "Well, how am I supposed to know that? You're all telling me these different things about each other." And she managed to calm down and said, I'm sorry. I know that this is confusing for you. We can say whatever we want to. You need to know what's right for yourself." And I said, "Well, I agree with that." She said, "The only way you're going to get that is if you give me a chance. Hear what I have to say. Listen to what I do. Let my actions prove who I am." And that made a lot of sense. I said, "All right. I do want to travel, and I do want to know what's going on. I'm sorry for not responding to your text." And she sighed and said, "All right." I said, "Well, I wasn't planning on traveling this early in the morning, but I can... Yeah, there's somewhere we can go. Continue your training." And I said, "Okay." I said, "We can't go to Rivendell?" She said, "No, it's middle of the night there. That's not going to work." I said, "Oh, okay." And she reached into her pocket and pulled out a small silver ring. And she said, "Sometimes there are places or objects like this tree. Sometimes they're a little bit more portable. And those ones are nice." She had me take hold of the ring with one of my hands, and she took my hand with her other. And she said, "All right, I want you to concentrate on what you're feeling." As I overlay our two worlds. And I had a hard time picturing that, but this time I kept my eyes open, curious to see what it looked like. See if maybe that would help me recognize what was going on. And everything around us dissolved into colors. Every single point around me seemed to dissolve and flash into a different color and all resolve into a dark alleyway. And I hadn't been paying attention to what exactly it had felt like. But again, I felt maybe something. And now that I know what to look for, it was a little bit more sure. But we came out and we were in this dark alley. This building stretching forever on above. I was like, where are we? And Scar said, "Sorry, this is where I had to escape last time I was here. I got chased by a bad crowd." That happens sometimes. And we came out of the alleyway onto kind of a dark street. And again, buildings massively tall, high above us. And I could tell it was, again, either it was early in the morning because there weren't many people out. Though I don't know if I can say people because they were all kinds of different races and tentacles and shapes and sizes, just as we saw people. What in the world, an alien writing? And I said, where are we? Scar said, this is Coruscant. It's a good planet. You'll get used to it if you travel around me. And she led me, she pulled out her mobile and made a few taps. And we waited for a minute until a flying taxi cab came down. And we stepped inside. And Scar handed a tip to the driver. And he said something in a language I have no idea. And Scar said something back in the same language. I thought, how many, I said, how many languages do you speak? And she looked at me kind of confused for a second, then realized, oh. She said, you don't have your mobile on you? And I said, no. She said, all right, I'll give you one of my earbuds. And as the taxi cab picked up and started flying through the city, she pulled an earbud out of her ear that I hadn't even noticed. It was a translucent thing. And she handed it to me. And she said, your mobile has earbuds in it, and you can pull them out and they'll translate anything that you need. I thought, wow, that's really nifty. I slipped it in, and suddenly the music on the radio became kind of coherent. I thought, oh, that's so cool. Like I could hear it and understand it. I said, and this works for speaking too? And she said, yeah, speaking, reading, writing. It depends on the language. Some are harder and you'll have a harder time. They can't do all of them. But for the most part, yeah, it does it all. I thought, oh, that's so cool. We rose through the city and eventually got to the point that we got above the buildings and saw the view from above. It was spectacular. The sun was coming up and the entire landscape was golden and red in the reflection of all of the skyscrapers. It was beautiful. And eventually he landed us down on a massive platform with a gigantic building that stood above us. And we got out and Scar thanked the driver and started walking and said, welcome to the Jedi Temple. And I kind of freaked out there. I am still impressed at how well I was able to handle myself. But as we came up, there were 2 sentries out front. And as Scar came up, she pulled her lightsaber from her pocket and turned it on. And they nodded their heads and let us pass through. And she put her lightsaber back and we walked through the hallways. And it was beautiful, just majestic hallways, though austere. It was incredible. But we got to a certain room and Scar went to knock on the door. And before she even knocked, the door slid open. And there was one of the blue-skinned people standing on the other side, with like the tails on their head. And she welcomed us. She gave Scar a hug and greeted her and reached her hand out to me and in a handshake and looked me straight in the eyes. And her eyes were just the deepest blue I've ever seen. And I suddenly became aware that I wasn't sure how long I'd been like lost in her eyes. There was just something surreal about them. But Scar was introducing me as G to her. I said, oh, yeah, that's right. Weird. And she let us in, and I said, well, thanks for letting us come visit with short notice, so. And she said, oh, that's all right. And she turned to Scar and kind of hushed, but I could definitely hear it. She said, where did you find this one? And Scar kind of blushed and said, what do you mean? And she said, he has an aptitude to the Force like nothing I've ever seen. It's incredible. And Scar said, what? What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. He's from Earth, just a normal kid. And Syl shook her head and said, no. And I said, wait, what? What's going on? And what's your name? She said, oh, I'm sorry, Syl Turen. I'm a Jedi Knight here and one of Scar's friends. She said, and you need to learn the Force. I have never seen anyone who could learn it as readily as you. And part of me thought, okay, Scar just set this up. But at the same time, I can't imagine that she was expecting all this to happen, though she was there. I wasn't sure. To this day, I'm still not entirely sure. But regardless, I was a little bit hesitant, and Scar seemed the same way. She said, that is, no, he does not have the Force. And Syl shushed her and said, G, I'm going to begin your preparations. You've got a long work ahead of you, but if you're willing, you will be greatly rewarded, and you will do a great work wherever you go. That sounded good to me, and she sat me down, taught me some meditation techniques, and I got the same kind of feel as with Sarah Fenn before, that she wouldn't teach me any cool tricks until I had mastered my mental state. I was like, all right, fine. So I learned these drills, and Scar stood on, looking kind of jealous, and eventually she said, all right, I have to go. I've got other things I need to do today. And Syl thanked me, and we said goodbye and went out back onto the platform on the Jedi Temple, and Scar pulled out her metal loop. Said, all right, think you can get us home? I said, I really don't know. And she said, it's easier than getting out to another world. It's easier to return. I said, all right. And so I took the other end of the loop and took her hand, which was getting more normal, and closed my eyes and tried to focus and think about what she said about overlaying the worlds. And as I focused on this loop, I could definitely feel something different about it. And I wasn't sure exactly what I did, but Scar said, huh, and let go of my hand, and I looked up and we were back in the park. I thought, wow. She said, I'm impressed. Well done. I got it on my first try, but I was like, okay. And she said, well, I'll see you again. Please, don't lose contact. Like, I want to explain and show you and prepare you so that you can travel on your own, but you're gonna have to listen to me and take what Darren says, take what I say, and really judge if it's good or not. I said, all right. She said, all right, I'll see you soon. I said, all right, see you soon. End of chapter 4.